Wanna hold her down, don't wanna break her crown. 3, 2. Let's go. I like the nightlife, baby. Yeah. I like the nightlife, baby. Inside. So when you live with chronic pain, you don't always get to your chores when, it's best to. And, sometimes, especially in winter, for me anyway, though, I know a couple people with rheumatoid arthritis, but one I don't really know. She's more of a friend, but, the humidity in winter is worse for some people. Or humidity in summer is worse for some people, but with me, it's these goddamn winter cold snaps. Oh, son of a bitch. Hey. Shh, black kitty, black kitty. Oh dear. That was cats. And speaking of the cold snap we just had here in Michigan, it's supposed to get up to 50 degrees. It's supposed to be having highs of 50 degrees, lows of 38 by about Monday or Tuesday. I can't believe I'm one of those stereotypical old guys who's talking about the weather, but I guess there's a reason for that. It's because, when you get old and creaky, your body decides that there are certain kinds of weather that you're just not gonna deal with today. Like me, I really wanted to deal with these dishes before today, but that was not what was foretold to me. I think I do need to tighten the belt on this record player. I'll see if there's some kind of tutorial recommended by Tech Connections or something. Or Techmoan. I love both of those YouTubers. They are so great. Techmoan, I love all of his retro technology that he'll showcase on his show. And it's just so fascinating to me. All of his vintage stereo equipment, it's just so lovely to me. I love it. I do. I love it. And he's got one of those voices that, part of it is probably just the, hold on, let me see if I can, because the light in here is shit. Yeah, that looks a little better. It's not right in my face. Ugh. But yeah, Techmoan, he's great. I love his show. And it's not really that he's got that British voice, because some British accents are just too much. And and I'm not saying too much isn't too British. I'm just saying, like, sometimes it's just, some accents are just kind of grating. And I don't know. I used to think I didn't like northern accents, but I guess Rachel Oates is originally from there. And she said on one of her more recent videos that, being northern, she doesn't know how to talk right. And, but her voice is lovely. I don't know if that's like, if she's got one parent from elsewhere in the UK or somewhere else in the world. She doesn't have to have both parents British, right? But yeah, she's got a lovely voice. It's but no, that's shit. Whose voice is it that is just too much for me? There's somebody. Shit, I can't remember his name now. That's how little I think about him. But I'm sure as soon as I see something with him again, it's gonna hit me. And then suddenly, it'll all come swimming back. And now we dump the bleach. Because there were new life forms growing in my water bottle. I keep forgetting that, especially when you put that crystal light powder in there. You really gotta wash them once a week at least. I've got an allergy to certain kinds of molds. Thankfully, that just, I don't know. It's probably some strain that's not too bad on me, but it's like, how was I not sicker from that alone? But then again, cutting out soy, a lot of my other allergies seem to be a bit more under control. Like, I used to do the eye drops, the nasal spray, and the oral, the pills every day, no matter the weather. Now I'm at a point where I just take the pill every day for the dust allergy, and what's it called? the eye drops and the nasal spray are seasonal only at this point, which is nice. I don't have to fill myself full of medications every day. Though sometimes after I vacuum, I do need to do the nasal spray and or eye drops. Like I'll just take whatever one's closest to me on the table and do that first. Wait an hour and I might need to take it and see if I need to take the other one. So milk bottle. This is ew. This is the one that I was using as a vase for those flowers that I gave to Isaac that I showed off in my meat vlogging. This is not a vintage one, though. I've got a couple of those. No, I've got one of those. This was a... Oh, somebody's up chucking on the... Sounds like it's on the tile floor. Yeah, I think this is a vase from now on. I mean, I can get one of those spongy things on a stick to clean out the inside on the bottom, but I'm like, nah, I don't need to do that right now. I really ought to embellish this. I don't know if anybody is going to watch this later, but if you do, let me know if you would be all for watching me, like, doing a live feed of just, like, covering this in, you know, craft rhinestones or something. Ew, they might produce bags. I've got a shit ton of craft rhinestones. I get them from like Michael's when they're on sale, and they're often on sale, or when I have a coupon, and I always have a coupon, especially since they also honor Joanne coupons. Yeah, Joanne and Michael's will honor competitors' coupons, so remember, keep that in mind. Anybody who, yeah, I know he's watching right now, but yeah, anybody who watches this and didn't know that before, yeah, Joanne and Michael's will honor competitors' coupons, so ideally a competitor that is within the county. So yeah, like there's no Hobby Lobby here in the Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti area. There are 2 Joannes and 1 Michael's that I'm aware of. But like there is a Hobby Lobby in Lansing. So I should probably save this, make another video just about this, but I was thinking, you know, I know a fair amount of local history, apart from having worked at the Historical Society Museum, apart from just being old and sucking up everything like people even older than me tell me. But yeah, so how Lansing, Michigan became the state capital. I'm going to make this its own video one of these days. I don't know if I should like collaborate with somebody I know who does animation or what, but it should have an animated version. And if anybody who does animation is watching shit, you know, I can do you a clean read through of how did this end up tangled. There we go. So yeah, so Detroit used to be the Michigan state capital. It's usually, you know, state capital is usually the largest city in the state. No, that's not always the case, but that was kind of especially the case back before Lansing was the state capital. Like, you know, that was just kind of the thing. Like, you know, when a territory got elevated to statehood in the U.S., like, you know, they'd say, well, what's the capital city? They'd be like, okay, well, the largest city is this place. And so at the time Michigan became a state, that was Detroit. So Detroit was the capital city until I want to say the French and Indian War. And Canada had, for a couple years, I think it was years, but for a time, Canada had seized the capital. Which, you know, if you're familiar with that joke of, you know, it was this old copy pasta thing that went around in emails 100 billion years ago when, you know, email was still a novel thing. And I don't know, you can probably still find it online. Something about new state capitals. I think it was, or no, new state mottos. I think it was originally some kind of Reader's Digest thing that was sent in. You can probably find it. You can probably find it online, but yeah, something about you know, Michigan's new state motto would be "Our nation's first line of defense against Canada," and then the new Ohio state motto, "Hey, at least we're not Michigan." And you know, I was born in Ohio and lived there until I was about 12, so I do find both of those very funny. Yeah. Okay, this scares me. This is rubbish from my bin. So I've got small bins. I don't know, this is from IKEA. And I have the small bins for a couple of reasons. One, they fit right under both sinks, which helps maximize the space in both my kitchen and my bathroom. And two, I don't have to buy bin liners because that's got a hole in it. That goes to recycling. Oh my God. So I've got a couple tall kitchen-sized bin liners in there from Calvin, who's one of my exes. Not the one I'm always going on about. That's Isaac. And honestly, I'm really not as bitter about Isaac as it may seem. I mean, I was for a bit, but now I just find it more hilarious because, you know, that boy, and I call him a boy, he's only going to be 20, he's going to be 23 in this May, I believe. Yeah, May. I know he's a Gemini. So yeah, this May he's going to be 23. But seriously, he owes about, you know, 75% of his personality to me. But yeah, Michigan State Capitol, Lansing. Hold on, I'm going to finish doing this and then go turn over my record. I'm listening to the cars. Don't know if anybody can hear that. Can hear it from behind here with all the dishes going. I don't even know how well this thing is picking up sound with the dishes going. That, no, please don't go down the sink. Ah, fuck it, I'll deal with that after it dries. Okay, looks like there's one person on. I'm gonna go flip the record. So yeah, the whole deal with why Lansing is the state capital. So, if you went to school in Michigan, especially a public school, you probably got a really boring story about it. And I know this because I've talked to people who've gotten the boring version when they were in elementary school. And then, well, see, when I was in elementary school, it was at a Catholic school, and while it was run by a Felician order, the lay teachers we had, which are, you know, teachers who aren't, oh, I can't see that. It went away before I could read it. So Lansing's the state capital, and that's because during the French and Indian War, the state capital, which was Detroit at the time, was briefly seized by Canada. I think it was for over a year. Don't quote me on that part. But after regaining the capital, including all of the very important government buildings, there was this really nasty campaign between a couple cities on which state then got to become the new state capital, because the governor at the time was all like, okay, we can't have Canada controlling the state capital of Michigan, since it's just like right there on the bay, Detroit is, and Windsor, its wiener comes down here like this, and so it's about to get a hand job. Like, we're just asking for it. Oh, the cars! You can barely hear that. So then they decide, okay, well, which one's going to be the state capital next? And the two biggest contenders that anybody was going to take seriously as the state capital was Ann Arbor, right hereabouts, roughly, and Grand Rapids, which is hereabouts. Don't ask me exactly where that is, where Grand Rapids is. I know it's way the fuck over this way. And and so if you're at all familiar with Michigan city culture and all that, Ann Arbor has pretty much always had this reputation for being, far liberal, though honestly, that's nowhere near as true as it used to be these days. Because everybody who is as far left as Ann Arbor likes to believe itself still is, we got priced out to Ypsilanti, oh God, at least 15 years ago. At least. It was already getting pretty awful with the rent hikes way before that. I've been in and out of this area about 25 years, so Ann Arbor, University of Michigan, they were letting women into medical school in the 19th century, which was just unheard of, especially around that time. So, and Grand Rapids, to my understanding, has not changed that much. It is still fairly right-wing, fairly conservative Christian. I know, what's his face? The Meyer grocery store guy. His family's from Grand Rapids, and word on the street is that they are fucking crazy-ass Christians, that whole family. To sum it up, about, I want to say, 12 years ago, the HRC rating for major corporations on their LGBT-friendly policies that year. This was like a year or two before Obama was elected the first time. So this would have been 2007, 2006. Walmart had a higher LGBT-friendly rating than Meijer did. So that's a reason that I kind of like to avoid Meijer. I kind of like to avoid Meijer if I can. Plus the way that, they pretty much laid down the groundwork for the Superstore thing. And it's literally designed to, keep you tied up in the store as long as possible. I find it, I actually find it easier to, get in and out of Walmart faster, if only because I need to get out of Walmart. Whereas Meijer, they change their layout about once a year, approximately every 18 months. But that's another story for another time. So Ann Arbor and Grand Rapids were really, really fighting, and it was getting nasty. These smear campaigns, both cities were running against each other for which city got to be the new state capital after we regained Detroit from Canada. So, Grand Rapids is all like, oh, they're all libtards down there in Ann Arbor. They let their women go be doctors. That's insane. That's obscene. Like, you are a women doctor? And, Ann Arbor was all like, well, look at those crazy people. crazy backwards people out in Grand Rapids. We're gonna be stuck behind like the rest of the country for the next 100,000 years if we let Grand Rapids be state capital. And so now at that time, Lansing, like I've seen people say, you know, like the uninteresting version, and these are all, you know, people who, you know, were kids in Lansing and grew up there. You know, they all get like the very boring version, which does not engage children with their local history. You know, they're just all like, oh, well, it's the centermost part of the state, and that's why it's the state capital. And I'm like, you know, that almost makes sense if it wasn't for the fact that Lansing is about down here as far as central Michigan goes. Like, whereas the centermost part of the state is up around here. So like Lansing, it's a bit south to be the centermost part of the state. Like, just look at any map and, like, you know, Lansing is a bit, you know, is a bit more south than the centermost part of the state. Plus, at that time, Lansing was little more than a village brought up from a trading post. So Lansing didn't even become like a proper, you know, settlement until, okay, so when Michigan was campaigning to be a state, or no, it had just gotten its statehood. So Michigan had just earned its statehood. And so there was this guy, and he was kind of a con artist. So he goes out to Lansing, New York, and is like, "Oh yeah, well, we've got this town in Michigan, and we're a new state, and we'd like to have this sister city program to bring people into Michigan and see what a wonderful new state it is." And so these three businessmen kind of fell for this scam. And just to like go and check in on their investment with this, you know, fake sister city program that didn't actually exist. So they got out there and like and it was a little more than like a trading post surrounded by swamp. No, I guess technically marsh, since I don't know, maybe it would have been swamp. I don't know. Well, like, yeah, that marshy, swampy kind of area. Most of Toledo is developed swampland, so I know what I'm looking at when I see it. Like, especially some of the indigenous trees in the area, and like, you know, how like, you know, like only like this far, like you can only dig this far down and then it's suddenly clay, and like, you know, like this really nasty clay that is so hard to do anything with. So, and yet there's Michigan Agricultural College, like right there. That's how the MSU began, was so yeah, like they saw like barely a trading post around, you know, this marshland. And they're just like, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna make good on this investment. So, you know, they just decided to build a couple more buildings, like you know, and some houses, and they put up a general store and make it all proper, and it eventually got to about, you know, village village status. So at the time Lansing was made into the state capital, it was the most insignificant village in the state. And so, I mean, maybe not the most, but it was a pretty insignificant village. In fact, like the governor at the time was basically laughed at, literally laughed at by a couple of his, you know, aides that he worked with. Like some of the politicians that he's working with were just like literally laughing, like, seriously, Lansing? And I mean, yeah, like Jackson, which is a bit, I want to say Jackson is about here-ish abouts. They were also like they were really bidding to be state capital as well. But you know, the biggest ones that everybody thought was going to be was either Ann Arbor or Grand Rapids. And he's just like, you know what? No, because it's not going to please anybody which one I pick. So here's what I imagine happened. Now this is the part you're not going to see in any history books, because, you know, looking at exactly where Lansing is on the map of Michigan, you can tell I've been living in Michigan most of my life, because this is like instant map of Michigan. So based on where it is, like it's not quite the centermost part. Here's what I imagine happened. Is, you know, he was just getting sick of Grand Rapids and Ann Arbor, like, you know, just bitching each other out and just being completely nasty little twats at each other. And so I imagine he just put up a goddamn map right on his wall, like right on his dartboard, aimed a goddamn dart, you know, and, you know, being his dartboard, you know, He's gonna aim for the center, but it got just a little off center. And where was that off center spot that he hit? It was Lansing. Because Lansing, like, never even put in a bid to be state capital. You know, like, this was completely governor's choice in spite of all the bidding. Like, so if you're ever wondering why Lansing is the state capital, and, you know, it has never been the biggest city in Michigan. There's been a few census years that it has come in second, but, you know, it kind of goes back and forth between Grand Rapids and Lansing being the second. But yeah, like, there's a few census years where Lansing's been the second most populous city in Michigan. But those were also years where Grand Rapids was a very close third. You know, so, you know, it has never come close. Like, I think the largest population of Lansing has, I don't think it's ever been more than about 2/3 the size of Detroit by population. I don't know, it might be closer to 3/4 of Detroit by population right about now. But I don't know, people are trying to revive Detroit. But yeah, like, if anybody wonders, like, any of your friends, you know, either from Michigan or from outside of Michigan, wonder, why is Lansing the state capital? It's because of spite. Like, literally the only reason that Lansing is the state capital was to spite Ann Arbor and Grand Rapids. Like, that's the biggest reason. You know, and a mild spite to the, you know, other cities like, you know, Jackson. I think Kalamazoo put in a bid too, but yeah, Ann Arbor and Grand Rapids were the big ones. Everybody thought was going to be, you know, the state capital after Detroit. You know, after the state regained Detroit from Canada. So, but yeah, Lansing is the state capital purely out of spite. It's a city that was... It's a city that is only a city because, you know, 3 businessmen wanted to make good on an investment rather than see all their money go under. So it's only a city because, you know, 3 businessmen, you know, didn't want to feel like they completely, you know, got swindled. And it is only the state capital out of spite. And that is my history lesson today. And it's going to become its own video where, you know, I don't get distracted nearly as much. But, God. You. Oh, God. Like you. The Cars are one of those bands that, if they were around maybe 2 years earlier, they probably would have been like some, you know, like some major movers in their local punk scene. But, you know, or maybe if they come around like a few years later, they could have, I don't know. They're one of those bands that's like, I don't exactly feel bad for them. I mean, they had a pretty good run on MTV because they had videos that were just weird enough to make people, like, you know, keep watching and go, what the shit am I watching? But at the same time, it's like, you know, they were either not weird enough, you know, for their time, but also oddly just a little too weird for what would come later, or compared to what would come later. So I've always had mixed feelings about Ric Ocasek's voice. Like, in the list of Brian Ferry-style singers, which is a bit of a misnomer because Brian Ferry basically took his, you know, warbling vibrato from Mark Bolan, who himself was inspired by the late 50s crooners. But still, Mark Bolan exaggerated his, vibrato pretty heavily. And then, like, next in, the line of, Brian Ferry's probably the bigger name worldwide, whereas Mark Bolan never really seemed to have that much notoriety outside the UK during his lifetime. He's a lot more well-regarded and well-respected 40 years after he died. 42 years after he died. Yeah, 42 years this September. What the shit? But yeah, like, more people in the States know about him since he's died. But yeah, that very loose, almost out of control vibrato. Like, people know what you're talking about in more parts of the world when you say Brian Ferry style singer. But yeah, like, Rick Ocasek is in what I'd call the line of Brian Ferry style singers, but he's got a lot more control over it. He doesn't quite do the vibrato as much as even Mark Bolan. And not even as much as Roz Williams. Oh wait, no. Mark Bolan. Yeah, Mark Bolan. I'd say his is a lot more in line with a bit of the mid-50s crooners, but also Donovan. Donovan had that, high warble to his voice a lot of times, and Roz Williams was definitely influenced by a lot of the warblers as a singer. And I can hear that. I can hear some of that with Rick Ocasek, but he's got... it's almost like... Yeah, like when you hear his voice, it's like it wants to shake much more than it does, but he's holding on to it. Like... So yeah, like, I never know how to feel about that. At the same time, though, in the list of the great, quote-unquote, Brian Ferry-style singers, I would not even put Brian Ferry in the top 5. I've caught hell from people on this in YouTube comments. And I know, like, unless you know the channel, like, unless it's a really small channel or something, like, the rule of thumb on YouTube comments is, like, don't participate in the comments. But yeah, like, I had to, because it's Brian Ferry. So this is Brian Ferry performing live. The man has no fucking control over his voice live. Like, I don't know if it's just because, he was older at that point and, isn't as much in practice as he was in the 70s, because Ferry serves, this was an 80s concert. Or, if it's just, like, studio tricks that make him sound, pretty good on the records, or at least the studio albums, because they've done a couple live releases. But it's like, the man has no goddamn control over his voice when he's live. And, like, it's just in a way that, like, so I'm a classically trained singer. I'm a tenor. I was a mezzo-soprano for many, many years. But, so yeah, I'm a tenor. I'm a classical tenor. And I do that. Vibrato. I love doing that. Like, while I do have classical training, I do prefer singing more pop-style music. So, like, and when I say pop music, I'm just, like, using the, the World English definition of pop music. Like you'd see on the Young Ones. So, like, basically, if it's not classical music, pop music. And you know what? This is trash. I'll get new produce bags. Fuck it, that's trash. This is trash. This is trash. Had happen someday. But yeah, like, I'm sorry. I had to get involved in the comments because Brian Ferry has no goddamn control over his voice, and it's awful. It's awful. He's awful live. What the hell went down the garbage disposal that's not supposed to? What is this? Ooh! Ice cream bar stick. That's it. Nothing too terrible. Oh, God. Oh. Oh, God. I'm almost done with the dishes. I have no... like, my rack is seriously overfilled at this point. But this, if I can make a way to make them all fit, this will be the first time in some months that I've been able to do every dish in the sink. And then after this, I'm going to scrape my cast iron. Where's my stuff for scraping the cast iron? I'll find it. And then after scraping the cast iron, oh God, it's just after 9. My clock on the wall says 9:05. I'm not sure exactly what time it is. Do I want to put on another record? Yeah, I'll put on another record. Let's not go into the... Let's not... Oh, fuck, that's right. God damn, my crock pot. I made broth with my crock pot. So, one of the habits I picked up as a poor person who's, so my dad was born just post-Depression era Detroit, and like Detroit. Like his was one of few families that did not succumb to white flight. So what was I saying? Something about my dad. Oh, yeah. So one of the habits that I picked up, being an old person and a poor person whose father was born just after the Depression, who had 2 older sisters. One with very clear memories of the Depression because she was born like 1931, 32. And then his sister Judy was born 37, I believe. And then my dad was born 42. And what do I want to play? Nope, I don't want to play that. Or that. Or those. I'm not in that kind of mood right now. Leonard Cohen? No, it's not a Leonard Cohen game. So, what's a good one? No. Not for dishes. Why do I have so much Depeche Mode? I'm not much a fan of Depeche Mode. Wait. Ooh. Eurythmics. This is not the one I want. Is this the one I want? Yes, it is. Okay. So yeah, I save the nubs and everything, and if I've got some vegetables that are clearly just starting to turn on me, is this the right side? No, this is side B. Yes. So I saved the nubs from a bunch of my vegetables. There we go. Please don't, cat. So yeah, I saved the nubs from my vegetables, and I can put these here for a minute, because I gotta bring this into the sink. I don't need to bring this into the sink. Yeah, probably that. Oh, Oh dear. So, and I got some vegetables that are just starting to turn on me. Oh god. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take this out tonight because this is gonna stink. Now, if I leave this out tonight, this is gonna stink. But yeah, I thing, which is nice because now I just have to do this. Woo-hoo! Yeah, that used to be like onions and asparagus, and oh god, that's yeah. But you know, the lid was on it for a couple days, so there wasn't really much usable broth in there anyway. I kind of scooped all that out and put it in the fridge after it was done. So yeah, I scoop all the ends of vegetables and shit, and I put it in a large freezer bag, and then let's see. So I found these at Whole Foods, and I just like it's showing like a turkey leg and shit, but so yeah, like you can do that with bones or vegetable ends, and I just like once it's full or once I really need room in the freezer, which is how I made broth this last time because I had shit that was from the food pantry that I needed room in the freezer for, so I just took the thing out. It was almost completely full anyway, so I took out my bits and I made myself some vegetable broth, and so really good broth. Just like, you know, whatever ends the vegetables. And it's vegetable broth that, you know, doesn't have soybeans in it, which is good for me. I know exactly what's in it because I made it. You know, unless I want to go on about the government fluoridating the water to steal my essence. But, you know, that movie is why I allow Stanley Kubrick, you know, to be in the, you know, National Film Registry. I am not a fan of Kubrick. Like, he did a couple movies that I allow to exist. Or at least, you know, if the rest of the world recognized my greatness, that would be the case anyway. But yeah, I am not a fan of Kubrick. He's another one that I consider like training wheels for surrealism. Him and David both. Like now Kubrick is more like a tricycle for surrealism. Like I really can't stand Kubrick. And I don't care if this makes some people think less of me. I would rather people think less of me than have friends who are going to stand Kubrick. You know? That is the thing. It's like I would rather have that kind of situation going on. So I'm playing Eurythmics now. I used to think Annie Lennox was a drag queen. I really did. I thought she was a drag queen when I was first getting into Eurythmics. And on my YouTube playlist, this one should be visible, entitled Before I Was Goth. So this is like a lot of the music that I was into, like for the couple of years before, you know, I got into goth music. So like between the ages of like 10 and, you know, 13, this is the music I was into. And there's a lot of Annie Lennox solo and Eurythmics on there. And I can take down my crock pot and put this away real quick. And then I'll go on about Annie some more. So, on the Sweet Dreams album, in the liner notes for the original inner sleeve, there are pictures of both Annie Lennox and David A. Stewart. But there are pictures of Annie Lennox in both girl mode and boy mode. And honestly, like, so I bought that record at, I think I got it at this little used record shop just a couple blocks down from me when I was that age. I'm pretty sure I was 9 years old. I really got into Prince when I was about 10, maybe the summer. Yeah, when I was 10, it was the summer I turned 11. I got really, but then what happened? So Annie Lennox, I got into Eurythmics and Annie Lennox about the year before. Yeah, it was definitely the year before because my mother was still living with us then, and my mother was a later in life lesbian, so so yeah, like this was 1991 in Ohio, and they're still not very good about LGBT rights in Ohio. It's one of 3 states left in the U.S. where trans people cannot have birth amended to reflect one's lived gender. So yeah, and yeah, I remember. What can I say? Then was no. Yeah, that was like the year of the Karens. So I guess like that was apparently a really common name that year because they were born like 16 months apart, something like that. I forget which one is younger, but yeah. So my dad's sister, who's lived with us, off and on most of my childhood, and the reason that she lived with us had a lot to do with the fact that she was bipolar. Like she was diagnosed bipolar back when it was still called manic depression in the I want to say early 70s. She was first diagnosed. So yeah, like a lot of people with bipolar disorder at around that time. And she was an alcoholic in and out of AA most of her life, just like my dad, though he was, I don't know what kind of mental health reasons may have been behind his alcoholism, but, or if it was just, the negative coping behavior he learned from his own father. Which, would be a mental health reason. It would be, like some form of emotional neglect as a child, I imagine, if you got an alcoholic parent. But that's another thing. So I was talking about Annie Lennox, and I swear to God, I thought, like, it took me a while because there were only 2 people listed as members on the Sweet Dreams album. In fact, like, there's only ever been 2 full-time members of Eurythmics. They had other people in their touring band, Annie and David, but as far as like official band members, it's always been a duo. So then what happened? So yeah, like, and I eventually figured out, okay, this one skinny guy's got to be the same person, especially when I saw the eye color. Yeah, like, especially when, like, I really noticed the eye color on both Annie girl mode and Annie boy mode. So I seriously thought, like, I knew drag queens existed, but I didn't know about drag kings because I was 9. And that is not something like, even now, into drag queens, but you don't see as many, if any, little kids into drag kings. And of course, the styled wig with this big boa. Let me get the record. Never mind, I just remembered that record is it's in the lockbox that I take to DJ gigs, which is I know where it's at, and it is, with the weather like it's been this last week and some, it is not going to be good for me to go get that box out from behind the chair it's behind. But yeah, I think I was 12 years old when I finally figured out that Annie Lennox was, was born female. I think I was reading an interview with her about the, I think it was about the Diva album. Because, and she mentioned being pregnant, and I may have been 12, but I certainly knew that, drag queens could not get pregnant. In fact, I was largely self-educated in sex ed, including trans and intersex issues when I was I started reading stuff about that when I was 8 and 9. I had most of the, very basic stuff down when I was 10. So I knew that, even if Annie Lennox, was one of the, drag queens that, later became a trans woman, there's no way she would have been able to get pregnant. So, yeah, that's, but yeah, I swear, I thought Annie Lennox was a drag queen the first 3 years I was into her music. And, I've read enough about her, both in her own words, from interviews and all that, and stuff like David Stewart and other people who've worked with her have said about her, and I get the impression she would be kind of flattered to learn that, 8-year-old little me, into her music, thought she was a drag queen until, 1992, when she put out the Diva album, and I was reading an interview about her, talking about being pregnant, and that's when I was like, oh, okay, she's just got a very androgynous face then, because that was really I was just thinking, because that was it for me. It was the face. I knew that obviously I'm an 8-year-old, 9-year-old who knows about drag queens, so I know breast forms are a thing. I know special effects makeup, to make it look like natural, cleavage is a thing. So, that's so yeah, that's how I learned that Annie Lennox is not a drag queen. I was 12. She was putting out her first solo album, and yeah, she was talking about how being pregnant during some process of the production. I know the video for Little Bird was shot while she was still pregnant. Other than waiting for shit to dry, I think I'm done with my dishes, and I'm gonna get around to shit. It's almost 9:30. What the fuck? Ew. Okay, so I think I'm gonna get around. How's my battery doing on here? Oh, yeah, I should probably start charging my phone. So, oh God, yeah, the Shining. I know Stephen King is not a fan of The Shining for his own reasons. Oh God, when I finally got around to seeing The Shining, my reaction was that was it. It's one of those things. I think the hype killed it for me. I would have been sufficiently freaked out by Blair Witch Project if not for the hype. at least the first time seeing it. Yeah, I probably could have been sufficiently freaked out by Blair Witch had it not been for the hype. The first time seeing it. But and I think that happened with me on The Shining as well. Like, I think like how much everybody claims to love it, and how like, oh, this is like a true surreal horror movie, and I watch it and I'm like, that was it. It's a hotel that like architecturally makes no sense, and we've got Jack Nicholson basically playing himself, which is, I get the impression that almost all of Jack Nicholson's characters have some kind of thinly veiled metaphor for alcoholism. I don't know, maybe One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest, that was, maybe not all of them, but yeah, like, I don't know, it really struck me, like, I hadn't even read that much about the differences between book and film, and I've never been much of a Stephen King fan. As far as his books go, I know that the films do not do the books justice, like with most films, versus the book. But yeah, The Shining, oh god. My reaction to The Shining was just like, that was it? This is what everybody talks about? I hate it. Did with Clockwork Orange. But then again, I really loved the book. And I was living with my sister and my brother-in-law. I'm sorry, I had a tiny pimple on my arm, so that's what I'm messing with right now. But yeah, I was living with my sister and my brother-in-law during summers in the UK when I was in junior high and high school. And so then what happened is, I got a copy of the British edition, which, has the final chapter included. And, the final chapter, this like really, it gives the book and is filmed off of the American edition, which took the final chapter out. But still, like, even that aside, I didn't get to see all of that. Maybe when it comes back up at me. But yeah, like, I love Anthony Burgess. I love Anthony Burgess' book, Clockwork Orange. I just think it's like the better way to, to tell that story. Whereas, I can see why Kubrick's film was, that was actually like censored and, like banned in the UK, for a good 30 years after it was first finished. Clockwork Orange legally in the UK until I want to say 1998, 99, something like that. I remember it was like some kind of big deal. Granted, there were people who got bootleg copies, made, of course. Those were fairly easy to find. Lifting the ban, on it was like pretty much just like tariffs off of this, because letting it go around as a bootleg copy is like let's just legalize it. It's fun. Yeah, that was like pretty much just a fuck it decision because people were watching it anyway. But yeah, I read the book first and I fell in the book first, and his film did not do Clockwork Orange. It was just I haven't read Clockwork Orange yet. I want to, but every time. Oh yeah. If you do get a copy, make sure to get a copy that has a glossary in the back, a NADSAC glossary in the back. I usually only see those with older editions, though. The last time I picked up a newer edition, it did not seem to have the NADSAC glossary in the back, which just is really weird to me. Like, why would you publish that without it? Like, why? It's like, because some of it is fairly easy enough to figure out. Like, it's basically Kubrick's reimagining of teenage slang from the 60s, of course, when the book was published in 1967, I believe. So yeah, like this was, his riff on teenage slang, and but it was based on Russian, and but yeah, a lot of it was based on Russian. It's I'd say it's based on kind of like this cross-pollination of Russian and Cockney rhyming slang. So some of it was really easy for me to pick up. That horror show is based. I haven't had a copy of Clockwork Orange in a while. That's one of the ones that I spent a couple years kind of nomadic, and I had a lot of books and a few DVDs and CDs just suddenly go missing on me. And in a lot of cases, I know exactly who to blame, but it was a matter of so-and-so's word against mine or something. But yeah, I'm not at all surprised that my copy of Clockwork Orange went missing very fast. But yeah, so horror show in Clockwork Orange, that's basically their equivalent of hip and cool, and it's based off the it's based off the Russian word for good, I believe. But yeah, it's given a Cockney rhyming slang treatment, where like apples and pears for stairs. Shit. There's a couple other ones that were just like on the tip of my tongue, and then I wanted to say them, and they just wandered off. And I wish this cat would wander off. Like, seriously, I look at you all day. I look at you so much, kitty. Why? He's not as insanely into spanking as one of my older cats, Vermin. Vermin died. Vermin died same winter Nigel came around. So yeah, Vermin died about 2012. So 7 years. 7 years, 2 days ago. Yeah, she was a great cat. She really was. She was. There's that old Calvin and Hobbes strip, where Hobbes is lounging in a sunbeam. Calvin goes up like, "Shah!" And Hobbes is like, scritch. And Calvin walks away, is like, yeah, fuzz therapy. And Vermin was that. Vermin was like the best fuzz therapy anybody ever had. And Kitty, seriously? Oh, jeez. This is what he's begging for. Because he's a little weirdo. Aren't you? Yes, you're a little weirdo. You are so weird. Jesus Christ. Okay, call all your friends to come watch me spank a cat. Spank an insane little noodle. Aren't we? Yes. We're a crazy little noodle. Aren't we? Yes, we are. Oh my gosh. I caught Nigel and Phoebe on my bed last night. Practically snuggling. Because it's cold. It's cold. But, he was out here with me. Yeah, well, okay, he was on the couch, but basically with me. And yeah, I've noticed that, once he comes on the bed, those two just like stop snuggling, sometime about half the time. Like, I don't know, I think they're getting really annoyed with him lately. And I mean, they're not being like outwardly mean to him. They're just kind of being a little bit cold and standoffish, like making it clear that he's being annoying lately. And he so is. Like, he's gonna be 2 this like April or May. I think April, yeah. Cause yeah, he was about 6 months old in October of 2017 when I adopted him. So yeah, he's gonna be 2. Still like such a little ball of energy, and the older 2, they're both gonna be 7 this year, and so yeah, like he's still like doing the whole death from above and tries to get them to wrestle, and they're all just like, no, we're fine, please go play somewhere else, please. Just, I know, no one wants to wrestle the little noodle. Oh dear. Hi. Hey, there, I thought I'd... Oh, hi! I don't know if I've seen your name on the, my D-Lurker. I don't know if I've seen your name in, my... Who's subscribed to me. Hi, cat. Seriously, I get to look at your ass all night, huh? Is that what we're doing? Is it? Is that? Please, I'd like to not look at your butt. I'd like to look at anything but. Oh, do we have 3 now? I don't know. Oh, dear. I don't know. I feel like I'm done with the dishes, and including scraping... Oh, crap. I didn't scrape my, my cast iron grill pan. Ah, fuck it. It's not gross yet. The other 2 cast iron, those were getting gross, but the grill pan was not yet gross. You know what? Fuck it. Seriously, cat? I know at least... Holy shit, 4th person now. I know at least one of you is vegan, but okay, 3. I'm going to make myself a burger. So one of my New Year's resolutions, I really want to drop some weight. My doctor's been riding my ass, and not in a... I found you a few months back. Oh! Hi, yeah, I'm still, Hi, yeah, I've noticed a lot of people, hello, yeah, I've noticed a lot of people, love the Ray Thu reviews that I do. Like, they're, I can't remember which one, but one of those is, like, my second most liked video, that I've done. I can't remember what the first most liked is, but yeah, I know at least one of you is vegan. Ideally, I'd like to get down to what I weighed when I first started dating Scott, who's one of the exes that I get along with. Scott and Byron, though Byron, I don't know, some days it feels like a stretch to say that I still get along with Byron, just because we don't talk much. But yeah, he was actually, because I was still trying to date Scott when I started transitioning. And while he is bisexual, he clearly has a preference, and it's a preference that I was transitioning away from. Not just as far as gender goes, but as far as, like, body shape goes. I'll put it that way. But yeah, Byron was the first Scott who found out I was getting chest surgery. First year and a half, I moved in. But yeah, like, Byron and I hadn't really deleted each other from MySpace yet, and yeah, that's how long ago I had my chest surgery. Yeah, like, but yeah, like, if it was Byron, who's why a bunch of my LA friends learned about that, then, you know, I mean, it's okay. Whoever... other Los Angeles friends. Anyone? Oh, crap. Didn't hear the last minute of what you said. Oh, yeah, there was something here. Oh, wait. I'm reading up a bit. Okay, stream is really lagging. Yeah, I know. I think part of that is my connection. It's snowing here. Well, it's too cold to snow, actually. Now, excuse me. Anyone who loves SC, and great. Oh, I love my hats. I do. Joined the chat late, so okay. Didn't hear the last minute of what she's. Yeah, there was something lagging, but Oh yeah. So yeah, like Byron. Oh crap! I started talking about Scott. Oh yeah. Ideally, I would like to get to back down to the weight that I was at when Scott and I first started dating. Was about 125-ish. I know this is one of the bone that it's one of those calorie counter apps. Like I log what I away. But yeah, there were a couple times. Definitely that little chocolate mousse cake that I got from Whole Foods last night. I did not log that, and this week. So because of all the medications I take, I don't know if anybody's watched any of my med vlog things. It's just me filling up my pill organizers for the week. And then just like rambling on about complete nonsense half the time. But yeah, I'd initially was talking in my 13 New Year's resolutions video about intermittent fasting. I was thinking about doing that, and then like I want to say the first day I aimed for 500 calories or less. I don't know. I got a little bit lightheaded. I think in part because I was also because my psychiatrist, she wanted to raise my Adderall dose a bit to for my ADHD, and so yeah, I just tried calorie logging, and I figure, okay, if I can do the equivalent, if I can take in equivalent calories, even if I do eat small-ish meals, which would be like toast and butter, which 2 slices of toast with butter, even though it's an unsalted butter. It's not some kind of fancy ass butter either. It's like 2 slices of toast with butter it's also because I get good butter too. I'm sure if I can't believe it's not butter, which I can't have due to soy allergy, but I'm sure if I got some kind of allergy friendly equivalent, it would be fewer calories, but still like 2 slices of toast with butter, that's about 300 calories. So even if I do small meals like that, it's a lot better on my system because not only am I on so many medications, I've also got history with hypoglycemia. So I was figuring if I could just do the equivalent with this calorie counter of missing ballpark about 1,500 to 2,000 calories in a week. Like if I can have that many calories under my weekly calorie budget a week. And that actually works. Like just like calorie counting, like aiming for, like a lower calorie budget for a few days, even with it's just, like small but calorie dense stuff like toast with peanut butter or something. Right now it's this is just a ground chicken patty with what the hell does it have? Oh, this has got a sun-dried tomato and basil. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, I've kind of heard about that. I'd only heard about it with a possibility for vegan keto because I don't know who all's seen my video. Ah, it's dark. I forget about that. So yeah, I can't go vegan full time. Oh, Kitty, you're gonna have to move. For now. Move, little cat butt. Oh, seriously? Okay. Kitty. Okay, I'm gonna pick you up. I'm gonna put you down. What the hell am I sitting on? Oh, that's the jacket I'm still doing. But yeah, I've heard about the possibility of vegan keto dieting, and just because I don't know, I really like that unnatural vegan. She's very science focused, and oh god, she's done videos where she addresses like these asinine questions, like so she is a vegan. I love her. Oh yeah, she's great. Just these asinine questions like, am I anti-vegan? When she herself is vegan, and she advocates that, she clearly advocates in most of her videos, just because I haven't seen absolutely all of them, that I am highly critical of veganism. Oh yeah, I love her. She's very science focused, and she's well, when I look at the environmental science around veganism versus eating even semi-veg, like I'd call that, my my default diet. Like I would easily get most of my protein through cheese and eggs, and I would feel like nothing was missed as far as like, my pleasure from eating goes. If I had meat only 2 or 3 meals a week, so like not even like, with, even like lunch and dinner 2 or 3 days a week, but I'm just talking like talking 2 or 3 meals a week, I would feel nothing missed by having very little meat and getting most of my protein from some combination of beans, eggs, and cheese. Oh yeah. But yeah, so yeah, like as far as like anthropologically goes, like when you look at just about every human society, there have been a few vegetarian societies. There has never been, until very recently, and even then it's like largely a Western phenomenon. There's never been a truly vegan society, anthropologically speaking. There have been vegetarian societies, but get a significant amount of protein from milk and cheese, whether it's from cows or from goats or from sheep or camels. I've heard of camels being milked in oh, son of a bitch! Seriously, Roku, why are you doing this to me? Oh my god, I don't want Sling TV. Why are you doing this? I hit the wrong button. Please stop. I don't want to unplug it and then plug it back in to make it stop. But yeah, like most societies, until I want to say the mid 19th century, that's when you started seeing a lot of especially in the bigger in the bigger areas, you start seeing a lot of pushing for meat, multiple times a week, like more than like just like your Sunday roast or fish on Friday or whatever. And a lot of times meat, like people's daily meat, it would be something that was like so heavily preserved through salt or drying that like salted, drying it, smoking it, So a lot of the meat people would eat, you know, it would be like something in the middle of the day to, you know, to suddenly have like a big, you know, like a little bit of preserved meat and some bread, or some cheese and some bread. Most people, and plus like for a long time, like even having meat every Sunday, and you know whatever, that was just that was an upper class thing. Most societies have been semi-vegetarian until fairly recently, so it's like meat 2-3 times a week. Um, uh, um, Sometimes, you know, maybe even like depending on, you know, your income in your society or whatever, you might, you know, only have meat on certain, you know, festival seasons. Still, you might even only have meat a few times a year, but still, it's like, you'd still get a lot of eggs and cheese, you know, cheap, plentiful protein that, you know, does not, but yeah, like as far as the environmental science goes, it is very compelling to at least reduce the amount of meat one eats, especially living in the States and most of Europe, where, you know, there is, oh, it's in the States where, like, you know, most isn't, like, so much American meat isn't even like regular commercials. But then, like, my friend Sarah offered me a profile on her account when I was trying to cut back on some spending, and oh shit, I should get the HBO Now again, because it's probably going to cut into my fund money for the next few months while I'm paying for this dental work that's getting done. But John Oliver is coming back with Last Week Tonight. That's right. That's going to be this weekend. I need to get okay. So I guess that's where I'm going to wrap this up, I guess. I don't know. I'm not doing anything else really aside from, oh shit, my phone really wants to be charged. And I know from experience that it charges so much slower when I'm doing something that uses a lot of power, like the live streaming. So, okay, yeah, I'm going to do another live stream, not this coming Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. I'm going to be sewing more on my jacket. I'm probably going to be watching some YouTube videos while I'm doing that and commenting. I don't know. I wish this would tell me who is on. Why won't this tell me who is on? That would be nifty. That would be a nice thing to know. No, that's just telling me. Seriously? Live chat, all messages visible. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna be sewing, live streaming, not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. Okay. That person who's delurking. Thanks so much to the viewers, subscribers, whatever. Yes, I don't know. Oh yeah, thanks so much. And okay, yeah, there's one other person. I don't know. But yeah. So like, let's see. So today is Friday, so a little under 2 weeks. I'm gonna do the live thing with the sewing on my jacket, some more patches. And again, like end of the month, last Wednesday of every month, I read from something. I don't know if you have any suggestions for something to read from. I've got a bunch of books here. I was thinking maybe from I don't know. I'll look. I've got a Ups Fables. I've got a big ass thing of Lovecraft, a big collection of Tesla's writings, which I think is mostly complete. There's probably some weird stuff in either of those. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. If you've got any suggestions, leave them in a comment later or whatever, or just like Twitter. There's Twitter, Ruin1334 on Twitter, obviously, to the other Winchester, but I don't know if any of the other people who've been on, and if anybody who wants to watch this later. It's been a little over an hour and a half. So yeah, I gotta charge my phone and watch some Law and Order and eat my chicken burger and fight cats off of me who want my chicken burger. Hi. Yes, you're very cute. Yes, I love you. You're very cute, and you're very fluffy, and you're very sweet, and I love you very much. But you're a pain in the ass. You know this, right? You do know that you're a pain in the ass. You are. You are. But you're cute, and I love you. Mm. Okay. All right. I don't know how to end these, so I guess I'm doing it now. All right. Take care. That's the kisses. Bye bye. Oh, great. One of my exes is trying to talk to me. All right.